Good morning, everybody. It's a great day in Geauga County today. Today's the official first day of summer, can't you tell? My name is John Epprecht, and I'm the chairman of the Geauga Growth Partnership. And I would like to call to order our This is our ninth annual meeting with the members of the partnership. It is truly an honor and a privilege to preside over these meetings for the past 9 years. Our secretary, Rich Frenchy, informs me that we have a quorum. So before I get started, I'd like to introduce or recognize our generous sponsors today. Our gold sponsors, Key Bank, Matt Nipper and Nancy Guthrie. University Hospital, Geauga Medical Center, Dr. DiCarlo. Our silver sponsors, Arms Trucking, Howard Bates. Burton Station Fixtures, Mark Polari. Ebert Owen CPAs, Jim Ebert and Barry Owen. Geauga Credit Union, Lisa Briggs and Tom Briggs. Great Lakes Growers, John Bonner. Honest Scales Recycling, Paul Miller. Kent State Geauga, Dean Angela Spalsbury. Marsh Valley, Mervyn and Sam Miller. Middlefield Bank, Eric Hollinger. POV, Chris Uhas. Geauga Hardwood Flooring and Paneling, Pete Miller and Larry Yoder. And our bronze sponsors, Clearstead, Tracy Jameson II, Electrolock, Mike and Matt Williams, the Frenchy Group, Richard Frenchy, Federal Improvement Company, Dave Ford, Geauga Savings, Jim Kleinfelter, Myers, Roman, Freeburg, and Lewis, Scott Lewis and Mario Fazio, Raymond James Financial, Dennis Schwartz, and John Wilhelm. I'd like to have a round of applause for them for their support. Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to just recognize some people from around the state of Ohio, Geauga County, and some of our local government officials that really help make this county function on a daily basis. Katie Berger from Congressman Dave Joyce's office, Jim Dvorak, Geauga County Commissioner, Scott Hildenbrand, Geauga County Sheriff, Ben Garlick, Mayor, Middlefield Village, Bill Coons, Mayor, South Russell Village, Jeff Markley, Bainbridge Township Trustee, Ken Radke Jr., Chester Township Trustee, Jim McCaskey, Munson Township Trustee, Irene McMullen, Munson Township Trustee, Janice Sugarman, Financial Officer for Bainbridge Township, Randy Sharp, City Manager, City of Chardon, City of Chardon, Scott Nihas, Chardon Police Chief, Leslie McCoy, Village Administrator, Middlefield Village, Steve Fritsch, Team Neo, Sean Davis, the Greater Cleveland Partnership. Thank you all for being here today. You know, our GGP team has just done a remarkable job this past year. The number of events this small group has put together over the past year is unbelievable. I'd just like to recognize them for all their hard work. I know the planning for this event has been ongoing, but in the last 4 weeks it's got rather intense. Marcia Owen, the administrative manager, Georgia Kamensik, Intern Program Coordinator, Paige Orvis, Communications Development Director, Nicole Ostrowski, Youth Education Coordinator, Dave Kraninger, GGP Business Consultant, Richard Seife, GGP Marketing Consultant, Stuart Miller, GGP Health and BRE Representative. And last, Tracy Jameson, our president of the association. You know, as many of you know, Tracy is going to retire this summer, and there was much planning that went into that, and what came out of that is a new opportunity, and I just wanted to introduce our next president. She will take the reins July 1st, and her name is Kim Leininger, if we could recognize her. The other group that I did want to recognize is the Board of Directors of the GGP. It's a thankless job that they take the time and commit to do some great things here in Geauga County. They are have taken a very conservative and fiscally responsibility in their job they do. I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate all your efforts. It's without you that much of this could not happen, so thank you very much. You know, before we get started, I just want to tell you a little bit why GGP is making an impact in people's lives in Geauga County, certainly all of our business executives here today. The first thing I want to say is your organization is fiscally sound. I just mentioned the Board of Directors. Watch that oversight. They are conservative in much of their thinking, but they're doing that with the best interest of our members. You know, certainly our efforts to bring business and students closer aligned is starting to pay dividends. You know that that's one of my big things that I really try to work on. I've been telling you that for 9 years. We have to find a way to better align school systems and business. You know, as we continue to march into larger school districts in the western side of the county, we're beginning to customize programs that the faculty is asking for. So what that's telling me is we're having success in bringing it to the attention of the teachers in this county that we need to prepare these kids a little bit better for the next step in their life. You know, I couldn't be prouder of the efforts of this organization and many people in this room for the efforts of Berkshire and Kent State Geauga. I mean, this is really a game changer as far as education, K through 12, and you align yourself with the university right out of the gate. GGP's economic development efforts the past few years has yielded over 1,000 new jobs in this county. And just construction alone in this county is going to be a $250 million influx into the county. It's really staggering numbers. You know, if you don't know about this program, it's called Bridges at Work. I invite you to talk to somebody about that today. We would be happy to share that success, tremendous success of supporting your employees in time of need. And if you do get involved, your employees will really appreciate that help. You know, our continuous education programs for your employees, such as supervisors, lead people, learning some of the latest techniques with regard to human resources, and all the drama that goes along with that, it's been very, very, very successful. You know, all this does not come for free, but as a group and an organization, we're able to move mountains. And it is affordable when we do it as a group rather than trying to do these things as a individual. So in summary, 2018 was a banner year for our businesses and for GGP. You know, please take the time to read over some of the survey results. We send out an annual survey to get a sense of what's going on in Geauga County, growth, employment, what are some of the things that we as an organization need to help facilitate with you. So please take the time. You took the time to at least send in your reports. Please look over the results. Now let's turn to the formal business of the morning, and that's the election of directors. On behalf of the Board Development Committee, I'm pleased to nominate the following persons for election to the Board of Directors of Geauga Growth Partnership. I would like to ask each nominee to stand as their name is read for re-election to a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2019. Jeff Coy, Connecticut Incorporated. John Epprecht, Great Lakes Cheese. Jay Giles at large. Eric Hollinger, Middlefield Banking Company. Jim Patterson, Patterson Farms. John Steigerwald at large. Bonnie Troyer, HR Strategies and Solutions. And Larry Yoder, Geauga Hardwood Flooring and Paneling. We're gratified that these Geauga County business leaders are willing to play roles in the organization. I wish to thank them for their willingness to serve. You can now be seated. Thank you. I also want to announce that the Board Development Committee will propose at the July board meeting that the Board of Directors elect to a 1-year term the following: Chairman John Epprecht, Great Lakes Cheese; Vice Chairman John Steigerwald at large; Secretary Rich Frenchy, the Frenchy Group; and Treasurer Steppy Ronyak, Arms Trucking. Before the vote, I'd like to thank our Board Development Committee. Rich Frenchy is the chairman, Cheryl Clemson, and Jay Giles. Thank you very much for your work. So, is there a motion to elect the persons nominated as directors of the Geauga Growth Partnership for terms indicated? Do I have a second? Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor by saying aye? Aye. Opposed? Nay? It looks as though we have favorably passed it. Thank you. Now it is my pleasure for me to present the Frank Samuel Distinguished Service Award. The award is to recognize the efforts of an individual or organization that goes above and beyond in support of the Growth Partnership and economic development in Geauga County. This year's recipient is Kent State Geauga Campus. Kent State has been a tremendous partner of the GGP over the years in economic development, and GGP is honored to be a partner with Kent State Geauga with the Gel Breakfasts. Gel Breakfasts are a forum that allows a variety of topics that foster ideas, encourage vision, recognize the many accomplishments of our citizens and businesses. GGP is also partnering with Kent State in the area of workforce education. The partnership has enabled Geauga County businesses to conveniently send their employees to the Burton campus for training while maximizing their training dollars. Another area where Kent Geauga impacts our economy is by graduating approximately 200 students per year. This equates to an annual economic impact of $185 million to Geauga County's economy when considering the alumni earnings and operational costs. In 2021, they will become the home of the model pre-K through 12 school when Berkshire Schools opens its door that fall on their grounds. GGP has always believed that the road for economic development runs right through Kent State Geauga. And the above underscores that belief. So we are fortunate and grateful to have a world-class university in Geauga County. And please join me in acknowledging Kent State Geauga's contribution to Geauga County's economy, and accepting for Kent State Geauga is Dean Angela Spalsbury. We want to thank Dean Spalsbury for arranging President Tressel to appear today as our keynote speaker. Prior to coming to Kent State Geauga, Dean Spalsbury was head of the math department at Youngstown State. Thank you, Angela, and thank you for everything you do for Geauga County. You know, the Frank Samuel Award that Angela received is truly homegrown. The award was made by Marsh Valley Forest Products, and it was engraved by Geauga Hardwood Flooring and Paneling, both located in Middlefield. Thank you very much for doing that. You know, at this time, I would like to ask if there's any further business to come before the membership. Hearing none, the formal business meeting of the Geauga Growth Partnership is concluded. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Can I have a second? Second. Thank you. So now the business meeting is adjourned. Now I'm pleased to introduce the Berkshire Superintendent, John Stoddard. Mr. Stoddard will talk about Prime Initiative that GGP has partnered with ever since its inception, and we talked a little bit about that with their relationship with Kent Geauga. So, John?
Thank you, Mr. Eppert. I'm John Stoddard. I'm superintendent of Berkshire Schools, and I am going to walk you through a quick update where we are on the Prime Initiative and maybe give you a little bit of background for those of you who don't know much about the Prime Initiative. And really, we're talking about the future of Berkshire Schools and the way we will successfully educate our kids and prepare them for the future is really through partnerships. And Prime is all about partnerships. Prime stands for the Partnership for Rural Innovative Models of Education. The most obvious partnership is our partnership with Kent State. We'll share a campus. And the long-term goal is to create a pipeline, a pre-K through 16 pipeline. Some people talk about pre-K to 12. And I know that we have a lot of kids that don't go to college. They have a lot of obstacles in their way. And being a first-generation college student myself, I understand what those obstacles were. And we feel if we can create a pipeline that shows that there is a logical next step, that more kids will be able to take advantage of that. The analogy I use most of the time is, you know, we don't hear our parents sitting around the dinner table with their 8th grade child wondering whether or not that high school thing is the right thing for them. It's just a logical next step, you know, they move on. Well, if we can create this pipeline where there is a logical next step, they see that progression, we make it affordable, then they move on. But at the same time, we want to erase any of these either-or propositions that we have for our kids. We want to make an and proposition. We just, on Tuesday, was it yesterday? It was yesterday, we had our first ever military signing at our high school. So we have 2 seniors who have decided they're going to serve in the Marines, and we often have these signings for our athletes, and we've even started to see some career signings. And if you walk through the high school, you'll notice that not only do we have banners for our senior athletes, we also have banners for our senior Auburn Career Center students as well. So we want to celebrate the career. Now we want to celebrate them going into the military. We talk about being a triple E district where it's enrollment, employment, or enlistment, because we feel like our kids can take advantage of any or all of those opportunities. And because we have a kid that wants to get on a career track, doesn't mean that they're not going to go to college, because I've seen several kids go through Auburn Career Center and also move on to college. I've also seen kids start a career, and then that enables them the opportunity to go to college or go into the military, and through the GI Bill also be able to go to college. So we want to create an and proposition for them. And that's been the whole goal for Prime this whole time. So what I want to do is run you through a quick agenda. We'll talk what Prime is, what our district strategic vision is, the instructional direction that's sending us in, and then I'll get a little bit into the educational facilities, give you an update on where we are with the planning, and then if we have time, we'll take some questions. So first, when we ask what Prime is, this is what Prime looks like in my head. So if I give you a graphic representation where you see there's a pre-K to 12, but then you've also got this 2-year or 4-year college option, and being so close to Kent State Geauga, we can make an easy pipeline. There will be a career tech component embedded into our pre-K to 12 new facility with our partnership with Auburn Career Center. And we have a direct connection to business and industry, our connections with Geauga Growth Partnership and internship opportunities, things like that. And the arrows go both ways, because kids can go either way. They can go from any position to any position. And that's what we want through this project. When we think about this under one roof concept, because we're going to have these opportunities under one roof, we have a high school, a middle school, an elementary school, some career tech components, and then a lot of shared space in the middle for those groups to all use together. And then we have this, what's labeled as LFI, which stands for Locally Funded Initiative. And that's where some of our other partnership opportunities come into play. So we have a partnership group that we're working with that includes Auburn Career Center and University Hospitals and the Lake and Geauga County ESCs and the Geauga County YMCA and Kent State University. And we're working to create some additional opportunities. And we've had some initial partnership talks, and so we've got some initial ideas on the table. Globally, what I would love to see would be the opportunity for us on this campus to offer some type of daycare, however that's facilitated. And then we already have the pre-K through 12, and then essentially the grades 13 through 16 on that campus. If we could offer some types of senior programming as well, and then some type of healthcare, medical clinic type services, then our campus becomes a community hub. There's something for everyone there. So, and that's the ultimate goal, is to become not just a school, but become a community hub, to have something for everyone, something that everyone in the community can take advantage of. How this ties into our strategic vision is we have 3 pillars that we're working through at the same time. One has to do with defining the skills that we think our students need, and the next is developing instructional strategies to help them develop those skills, and then the last is designing our learning spaces to match those instructional strategies. So when we talk about our instruction, We know that knowledge is important. We know that kids have to have a certain level of content, and that's where we follow the state standards. That's our curriculum. But we also know that knowledge without skills doesn't help them very much. You know, I go back to some of the early conversations that I had with when I first came here about a year and a half ago, and I had some business people say, you know, you send really smart kids to us. They can add, subtract, and divide fractions, but when I give them a tape measure, they don't know how to use it. So it doesn't really do us any good to be able to divide, add, or subtract fractions if we can't apply that in some other way. So we have to figure out a way to develop those skills. So we created what we call a graduate profile, or our 5 C's, and we had a representative community group that had business leaders, it had community members that had no children in the school, it had parents, it had teachers, administrators, and it had representation from all 5 townships that make up our district. And at the end of our work session, we came out with 5 skills that we wanted all of our kids to have: communication, collaboration, civic responsibility, creativity and innovation, and critical thinking and problem solving. We thought if our kids can leave our high school with those skills well developed, that will give them a leg up on the competition for jobs, for spots in colleges, for things like that. So then we had to talk about how do we change our instructional delivery, because if you're a teacher and you hear me say, I want you to focus on those 5 skills, the first thing they're going to say is, we don't have time to do that. We've got all these state standards. We've got these things we have to cover. So if we continue to use the traditional model that we've always done in education, they won't have time to do that. So we had to find the best instructional delivery model to get us there, which we landed on project-based learning, which would end in performance assessments. So instead of learning a bunch of knowledge and then using it to do a project, we're training our teachers to develop a project that requires them to learn that knowledge while they're finishing the project. And then the performance assessment, instead of a paper pencil test, they're actually showing us how they learned what they learned, so we can give them feedback on the skills that they developed while completing the project, and they've shown us the knowledge that they've gained at the end result. So we're kind of combining those things together. Takes a lot of time, takes a lot of training, and we're kind of taking baby steps. We have a few staff members that they've dove in right away, and we have a couple that have kind of put their feet in, but we're working toward an instructional delivery model that will get us here. We're also designing our new facilities with that instructional delivery model in mind. So we're encouraging the 5 C's through the design of our new school. And because we were fortunate enough to be supported by the KeyBank Foundation to be able to incorporate maker and innovation spaces in all 3 of our buildings. And so when we combine into the new building, we'll have one really nice, large, innovative maker space. So through the support of the foundation, we were able to incorporate 28 3D printers, 6 3D CNC carving machines, 3 laser engravers, and 3 large vinyl cutters and printers. So that's divided amongst 3 buildings right now, but will come together in one space when we move into the new space, which is great to see the kids using their projects and moving forward and making things as a result. And so early on, one of the biggest questions were, how can you teach the classics through a project-based learning lens? And we had a presentation at one of our board meetings where we had some high school students present how they learned the Odyssey through project-based learning. And I read the Odyssey in high school and don't remember much of it. So they used the material to print a really large map that showed the journey of Odysseus. And then they were broken into groups, and each group had to make a 3D representation of that point on that voyage. And then they all came around and put it on the map and told the story, so that when they were finished, they had a graphic representation in 3D sitting in front of them of the Odyssey, and they could all remember every part of it because they could see it. So they made multiple pathways to it. So that was a way we still made a connection to one of the classics through a project-based learning, and they're going to remember that for far longer than they would have if we would have just read it, taken a quiz, and moved on. So those are some of the examples of how we're trying to incorporate this new way of thinking into teaching some of the things that they're already doing, and they're working together and collaborating to create those projects. So our new educational facility will be on the Kent G campus. So this building is